All right, guys, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me this fine afternoon. It may be morning over by you, so I apologize. Good morning if it's morning. I'm gonna unmute everyone's mic and see if we could do this. Hi, everyone. Say hello. Can we all hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay, great, because yesterday was kind of a bit of a disaster. And Lady was with me the entire time, and just things kept on happening. It was like my computer was possessed. And fortunately, the recording came out pretty good, and there was no delay except for one point where my mic would just mute itself without doing anything. So all of a sudden it would just mute my mic and I couldn't unmute my mic. It was kind of frustrating and a disaster, but that's good. Everything's working. I guess the preferred place is at my home. My computer likes my house for some reason and doesn't like campus. Well, cool. Megan, I saw that film too, Sucker Punch, and it did have amazing music and amazing effects as well. I thought that was a pretty cool movie. Love the colors and the darkness of the film. Great, great film. Okay, so what did I bring you guys here today? This is personal branding. It doesn't really correlate with any of the assignments that we're doing, except it is an underlining part of being a digital citizen is uh, knowing how to represent yourself online. Um, it's not just shaking people's hands and making eye contact and exchanging business cards anymore. It's global now, and you have to kind of sell yourself on this global level and use all these Web 2.0 tools for communication. And most of you did an awesome job, especially when it came to the misinformation debate. I know there was trouble with communication on the start. It's always rocky at first, but once you get the hang of it and you use things like Google Drive and Skype and instant messages or even the discussion boards that we have right on the platform, it's really important to know who you are. It's important to know what you want to be represented, whether it's face to face or it's online. The two things aren't really separated. And I went over the 9 elements in our lecture yesterday, and they're all encompassing. Every single one of them, they're all encompassing. We each adopt them at any given moment, and it's really all about who we are. This is one of my favorite lectures. I get a lot of interaction when it's on campus. So, by all means, if you want to speak, please speak. I know that, I'm flattered that you want me to talk all the time, but I love to hear your voice as well, and I love to hear your opinions. So, either type it in or, your mics are open. So if you have something to say, by all means. Thanks, lady. I appreciate it. Even when my strong accent comes out, you want to hear my voice? Okay, so personal brand and online presence, and you'll see that they kind of go hand in hand, especially nowadays. Okay, So when I tell you personal brand, or I give you that term, what do you think it is? I know you got my back, lady. Thank you. I miss it. So personal brand. I hear the crickets. I need one of those buttons, or I need to record the crickets when I ask a question. And I just push the button and it goes chirp, chirp, chirp. Okay, Megan says creating a website with your own images. That's definitely part of it. That's part of it. Like, are you saying your artwork and what you do? And Natalie says a label or mark of your own. Absolutely. Something that is represents who you are and what you do. Excellent. Took the words right out of my mouth. Maybe something that represents you or your personality. Okay, so why do you think that is important? Especially in this day and age, and especially in the industries that you're going into. Why do you think it's important to have a personal brand? Megan, cool. You can unmute your mic and speak when you're ready. Megan, you'll have to unmute your mic from your end to speak. Okay, because in the world of technology, you have to have your identity out there so people know who you are and what you're creating. Definitely. Ultimately, if you don't put yourself out there, do you really exist? I know it's kind of harsh. No, it's a really harsh word. It kind of sounds negative, but it's not negative. It's basically the way it is. If you don't make yourself known, how are people going to know you? So you have to make yourself visible, and I'm going to be going through the steps of developing your brand, and part of it is making yourself visible. Okay. So this is how I start off. Why is it important to make yourself visible? It all depends on what you want. It all depends on what you want out of your craft and out of your career. If you want to be one of the people that are behind the scenes and you don't want to necessarily be known for who you are and your face, then there are ways to represent a brand that you want out there. So it all depends on what you want out of your craft. Are you doing it for fame and fortune, or are you doing it to share it with the world? Or are you doing it to have notebooks and notebooks in sitting in your crawl space and take them out on a rainy day? So it depends on what you want. Exactly. That's what you have to ask yourself. So yeah, that's mine. I have notebooks and notebooks in my crawl space. Okay, so how do I start this off? It really, again, I do a lot off the cuff. I only put slides there for people that are watching back or on campus. All our slides are offered to our campus people. So the way I describe this is I ask my class a question. If I was to come over and your best friend was there, and I'm not talking about just your run of the mill, we say we're BFFs because it's just etiquette, or It's just something that you say. I'm talking about the person that knows you inside and out. They know your skeletons. They know your secrets. They know you better than your mama knows you. So if I was to go over to your house and ask your best friend, who is Lady? Who is Dustin? Who is Megan? Who is Natalie? What would they tell me? And are you scared? Am I stumping you? What would they tell me? And this is something, and you don't have to answer. It's kind of rhetorical. You don't have to answer. But think about that. What would the person that knows you most say about you? And that's really what personal branding is. A lot of us feel, or when I raise that question, what do you think a personal brand is? Many people feel that it's all about them and it's all about how they perceive themselves. And really, that's a part of it, but it's not all of it. It's other people's perception of who you are. So you really have to think about, you know, if my instructor or my mom or my husband, my fiance, my boyfriend, girlfriend was to ask my best friend who I am, what would they say? So, along with that, personal branding by definition is the process by how we view ourselves and how others view us as well. They go hand in hand. If you were to compare it to maybe a corporate brand, think about a product that works out there, and essentially you have to start thinking about yourself as a product. And this could be simply going on an interview for a job. But you are a product. You are part of your craft. You are out there and selling yourself, especially if your ultimate goal is for others to perceive you how you perceive yourself. Your 3-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I could totally relate to that. And if it's safe to say, others might perceive that as having alternate personalities. And that may scare people, but that's okay if it scares people, because we have to be diverse, especially in this world. We're in a new day and age, and I tell you guys right off the bat, whether you're a writer or you're the musician or you're the filmmaker or you're the gamer, this new digital world is all encompassing. And if we stop to understand and appreciate all our different diverse creativity, our eyes become open to all these possibilities. The collaborative effort just becomes that much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Cohesive, harmonized, just beautiful. Something can come out of our tolerance of each other, our understanding of each other. And this industry demands it. It demands us to be creatively diverse, not necessarily be a master in every single aspect, but know about it and appreciate it and understand it. Right? Exactly. Okay, so Um, this is a little experiment that we do in class, but I recommend you guys doing this. It's crazy what you get. I will tell you that we used to create a Google document, open it up to the class, and ask the class to describe us as instructors with 3 adjectives. Now, I'm I have a really strong backbone. Lady knows that I'm from New York. My skin is thick. However, there were some things that would make me blush. So we definitely had to nip that in the bud and not do that. So to change it up a little bit, we gave our students challenges that you create a Google form, and this is right in Google Drive, where most of you made presentations for your misinformation debate. There is an option to make a form and send it out to 3 of your friends anonymously. They don't have to stick their name in it. Of course, you're going to know who you're sending it to, but you won't know who is responding. And that way you can get an idea of how others perceive you. And it's really interesting because sometimes you get validated and you're like, wow, that's neat. I'm so glad that you view me in that way, and you almost become humble. And it just gives you food for thought. It's a very small experiment, and it could help your personal growth. So, do you think any of you guys are going to do that? Cool. Cool. All right. So, some myths about personal brand. Personal brand is about getting the job. It's it's not all about it. Um, it includes both your personal and professional life. There are ways that you can separate this two, and that's part of this whole month and becoming digital literate and learning about digital citizenship and how ways that you could go about protecting yourself. But really, you want to be genuine. You want to be the person you are. You always want to be true. Um, if if you are glorifying a skill that you're not so that you haven't mastered, and when you have to step up to the plate and perform and you can't, it takes away credibility. So you want to be true. Personal branding is image management. You have the image on the outside. We don't want to feel like we are, but really, as human beings, we're very judgmental people. Doesn't mean that we mean to be judgmental. It's just that we have that innate part of us inside. And the first thing you see is the outer image. Your personal brand is your inner self. If you can master your inner self and wear your inner self on your sleeve, so to speak, then you're genuine, and people are going to see that you're genuine. Megan wrote something, and I'm going to stop to read it because it's hard to do both. But heart and soul, a paradox wrapped in an oxymoron, smothered in contradiction, intern sleeps in a coffin. Really the happiest goth you'll ever meet. That describes me to a T, except for the coffin part. Oh, why not? Why don't you have one? That would be amazing. Awesome. Can't afford it. Okay, then we need to make a Kickstarter. What do you say, guys? Kickstarter for Megan? I think we could do it. I think we could do it. Okay. This goes along the line what I was saying before, visibility. Personal brand is all about you. The more you help others, the larger your visibility. And this is so true. I know you guys are not on Full Sail Campus, but there are in your own communities, there's always things going on. There's always events going on for your community to be charitable and volunteer your time. This is where you're going to meet people. This is where people are going to see you in that empathetic light if that's the way, if that's what you want to do. But bottom line is, if you aren't shaking hands and you aren't making eye contact and you aren't making the initiatives to communicate, then people are not going to know who you are. So again, it all depends on how you want to be perceived. And Megan, I see your hand. Would you like to type, or you can unmute your mic? Question: how do we present ourselves in an honest way? That's a really good question. It's, you have, first of all, you have to think about who you are. If you know who you are, then that's going to come out. You really have to, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in your perception of yourself for others to believe in the perception. Does that make sense? If you don't wholeheartedly believe in who you are, how are you going to make other people believe in who you are? Okay, when all of us who we are is not exactly appropriate for every business. And you bring a great question up, Megan. That is true. Sometimes we have to tone it down depending on our environment. And that's true with anything. You know, there for certain things there is a time and a place. And we were going over this when I was going over the 9 elements of digital citizenship. As an individual, we do have the right to be who we are and showcase who we are, be unique, be creative. But there may be some things that there's a time and a place for it. You know, it depends. And I'm sorry that you have to do that. I hope it's not too much, Megan. You know, because that can make you very unhappy. But there are things that we have to go through life. There are points in our life that we're not exactly doing what we want to do at the time, and we're taking these steps in that direction. I think, and I only speak from experience, I'm not preaching anything, like this is the absolute truth, but a lot of the times what I would do to help my mind and help this situation is tell myself this is only temporary. This is only temporary. This is a stepping stone. And maybe I have to don't tone down some of the things, but it's only a stepping stone to what's coming later. And then I get to show the world who I really am. And it's not to say that you're being false or you're being untrue. It's just that you're not revealing everything all at once just yet. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, keep the mystery, girl. It's what drives us. It's motivation. It's motivation. Lady, you have your hand up if you'd like to unmute your mic. Go ahead. Okay. No one wants to talk today? Okay. People say that where you came from doesn't make who you are, but I believe different. When I came from DR to the state, a Dominican Republic, I'm assuming, to the States, I was placed in the New York City system, foster care, group home, and had to age out. That being the case, I became someone who I never thought I'd be in life. And that's really powerful. I'm jealous. Frozen is awesome. I'm jealous that they're watching Frozen loudly. That's a very powerful statement. And again, it's all about perception. I mean, you could be hanging out in a group of people, and the way that people perceive that group, just because their reputation, it kind of rubs off on you. But ultimately, the only person that has the power to change that is you. So if you want to change that perception, you have the power to change that perception. Don't let anyone tell you that you're that way because of the stigmatism that comes with going through the quote unquote system. There's things that, people come to a crossroads in life, and it's how we choose as individuals to deal with it that makes us who we are. It's not the situation, it's the choice that makes us who we are. So of course people are going to have this perception of certain areas or certain organizations, but it's up to you to change their minds and prove them wrong. Yes, she is a butterfly in all its glory. Yes. And lady, I hope with a stinger. That's awesome. And that really that hits home with me because one of the things that I want to do when I'm a little bit more established is I want to adopt, and I think it's so important. There's so many children out there that need love and need people that would care for them. So that kind of hits home to me. I definitely, it's one of my goals. I definitely want to adopt. And the last myth is I don't have a personal brand. That is completely nonsense. And it goes along the line with that human nature thing that I was talking about. Unfortunately, we do tend to judge, and it's on outward appearances first and foremost. We see this all the time, and ladies, I know that you're with me. I think it's an innate trait in us, not that we be mean to do it, but every time another female walks into the room, we're looking at her head to toe. And it's either, oh my God, where did you get those shoes? Because I want them. Or it's, my God, girl, did you even look in the mirror before you left the house? And by nature, it's the only thing I hate about being a female, and I try to suppress that part of my gender, definitely, and I try to be more aware of that. because I like to believe that I'm not a judgmental person, and I try my best not to. But sometimes it's almost like what analogy can I use? It's almost like when, yes, it's a chemical, but it's almost like an innate thing that happens. Like when you're small and your parents throw you into the pool and you automatically do the doggy paddle to keep afloat because it's just something innate in us that our limbs, our extremities move to keep us afloat. Um, Natalie says I get judged all the time every time I go somewhere with my mom because I have tattoos and piercings, and I get looked at like a wild animal. Natalie, I'm so sorry that in the 21st century that you're still dealing with that. That's absolutely crazy. I have tattoos. I think almost everybody has tattoos now and piercings. So it's unfortunate, and I would feel bad for those that have not evolved. They haven't evolved with the times, and I would just feel bad for them. And Dustin, you are not off the hook. I know that you are in a room full with ladies, and you're probably shaking your head like, yes, you speak the truth, Miss P. But you guys do it too. You definitely size each other up, no matter what you think. Guys definitely size each other up. Um, just a quick story. My brother came to visit me, and he came to the high school where I taught and spent the day with me, which was really cool. He's like, I want to see my sister in action, and you know, typical. He's from New York. He's a paisan. He has a sleeve of tattoos. He's a barber in New York, so he has all the um, antique barbershop equipment tattooed on his arm. So he's sitting out, he's standing outside my classroom with his arms folded, and we're talking, and I was cracking up because all the guys that would come into well, and the girls, but guys that were coming into my class and were like, "Who's that with Miss P? Who does he think he is? Who's that talking to Miss P like he's tough?" And they thought that I couldn't hear, and saying all this stuff under their breath, and I was giggling to myself because I'm like, my students are sizing up my brother. I can't believe it. So, yes, all the girls wanted to ask my brother to the prom. So, crazy. Megan, after I thought about it, yeah, definitely territorial. Definitely territorial. It was funny. It was definitely funny. So, Dustin, you're definitely not off the hook. We all, both genders, have a way of judging people, and it's just that you need to know who you are before someone else tells you who you are. Okay, so we have laws of personal branding. We have authenticity, transparency, and visibility. Authenticity is pretty much what we're just going over. You need to define your brand before someone defines it for you. How many of you have a nickname from your childhood, or maybe something, in college or high school, that you really wish it didn't stick, but it stuck? Okay, you don't have to tell me what it is, because I know some of them are really embarrassing, but yeah, it was just something that you did, and or an experience that you had with your friends, and it was a nickname that stuck forever. And you're probably going to be in your 60s playing bocce ball in the retirement home, and they're going to call you the same thing. So, Natalie says, my mom calls me Nat Poo in public sometimes. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. And lady, you have the Terminator? That's pretty BA, if you ask me. The Terminator. Nice. To go along with that, my high school students called me the Pearsonator, which I thought was kind of cool. That's funny. So authenticity is you want to define yourself before someone else defines you. An example that I give in my class is, anyone here watch Big Bang Theory? Do you guys watch Big Bang? Okay, Lady does and Megan does, and I don't know what I'm gonna do without my nerds when they leave. It's gonna be heartbreaking. But a quick example is that all the guys give Howard such a hard time because out of everybody, he's the only one that has the master's degree. Everybody has a PhD. So they kind of give him a hard time for being the not so smart one, which, he's incredibly smart. But he finally gets his day when he gets asked by NASA to go into space. So he's thinking, I get my time. I'm going to be in space. I'm going to be an astronaut. So they're trying to help him out. And Koothrappali, I think, is closer to him than the other two. And he's saying that you have to have a cool ringtone on your phone, like Rocket Man by Elton John. So when you're Skyping with them and your phone rings, they'll call you Rocket Man. So they had this all set up, and at this time, Howard is living home with his mom still. He is not, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling anything, but he's living at home with his mother. He's on Skype. His mom is notorious from yelling from down the stairs, and they're yelling back and forth. And now he is coming to the interview, and he's talking to the guy. Cue Koothrappali ringing his phone, and Rocket Man comes on. At the same time, his mom yells, "Howard, your Fruit Loops are getting soggy." And what do you think happened next? What do you think the astronauts called him the entire time? Fruit Loops, yes. Okay, so now he has that name attached to him. And, bottom line is that you should be defining yourself before someone else defines you. Transparency, it's all about that integrity. It's that honesty. You do not want to sell yourself as something you're not, because at the time you are going to be called out on it. That's another human nature trait. If you say you're going to do something, people are going to call you out on it because they want to know that they could trust you and that you're reliable and credible. So, if you're telling the coach, I step up to the 3-point line and it goes nothing but net every single time. And then there's a scout that comes to watch you, and the first one just bounces off the backboard. The second one goes over the backboard. You just wasted everybody's time. You wasted your coach's time. You wasted the scout at the college's time, and you wasted your own time. and now you lost your credibility, and it's really, really hard to get that back. It takes a long time, of course, unless of course you're Charlie Sheen or Kim Kardashian or Justin Bieber. In that case you could do whatever you want, but in the case of uh, us middle class people, you want to put forth your most honest, straightforward self. You don't want to be called out on something you can't deliver on. And then the last thing is visibility, and it really, like, if you aren't known, your name or brand doesn't exist. And again, this is all individual prerogative. It depends on what you want out of it. What do you want out of a craft? What do you want out of a career? What do you want personally? So, any questions so far? We good? Can I get a thumbs up? Cool. Okay, so I was talking about the process in the beginning of this lecture. I was talking about the process. There's a process to your brand. Discover, create, communicate, and maintain. My personal preference, preference is the wrong word, but my personal step in this process that I feel is the most important is maintaining. Times are changing. This class tells us technology is changing. Communication has changed drastically. So really, to keep up with ourselves and to make ourselves stay relevant, we have to maintain. We constantly have to maintain. So first is discovery. Leroy, no worries. I am recording this session and I'll post it on the community discussion board just like the rest of them. Cool. We're happy to have you. Okay, so discovering your goals. Who are you? Like, that's what we were talking about at the very beginning. Who are you? What do you want? How do you want other people to perceive you? What do you want? What are your goals? You want to focus on your strengths and past accomplishments. Your strengths are going to be your best self, And then what I believe is strong is another, and it comes from a quote from my man Socrates, is create a plan with short-term goals and long-term goals. Why is that important? Why is it important to have both? Why should you have short-term and long-term goals and not just long-term goals or not just short-term goals? Anyone want to take a crack at that? Definitely to keep you focused. Absolutely. What else? Oh, I'm cracking like a little boy. Sorry. Lady, go ahead.
That way, so that everybody, or it's important so that you can always have something to work at instead of saying, okay, my goal is done. Well, nothing is done. Like, there's always something to tweak.
Absolutely. And it keeps you pressing forward. It keeps you motivated to move forward. Another thing is, I was talking about a quote from Socrates. One of my favorites, and I know I have one on my email signature, one of my favorites is happiness is not in the destination, it's in the journey. And I truly believe that. It's everything that you hit along the way. And it's those small accomplishments and celebrations along the way that keeps you motivated to your long-term goal. So in your position, many of you, of course, are one of your goals is I want to graduate from Full Sail. I want to get my degree. And that's great. But you want to have those celebrations as along the way on your journey so you can keep motivated. And you need to remind yourself why you're here. You need to remind yourself of your passion and to keep yourself going. So it's good to have both. Do you agree? Cool. Okay, so creating your brand. Creating a brand is, I mean, you guys are doing it every single day. You're in it. You're creating your brand. You're finding out where you fit. You're finding out what you can do with all these amazing tools that are around you. The cool thing is, and I think I've mentioned this before, but the cool thing is when you're first starting out is that you're starting from the bottom and you're creating all these things, for instance, for our class, for DGL. Yes, you start from the bottom, now you're here. Yeah, that, something like that. So, I may get taken to court for that. That's another lecture. But you should be holding on to the things that you create in the very first month, because there are going to be aspects of the projects that you create, the discussions that you post. You're going to find out later down the line that there may be something that you can pull from that. Mostly all the time I was talking about being a pack rat and having all those notebooks of writings in my crawl space and saving it for a rainy day. Many times that I go over my journals, I'll find something in there that sparks a new project or gives me an idea for a whole different story. Whether it's a line, it's a character, it's a chapter, it's a paragraph, there's something tangible that I take away from my past. So in creating your brand, start accumulating things and create that file on your desktop and of things that you're proud of, and keep it going. And like I said in the beginning with Discover, remind yourself of your passion. Remind yourself why you're here and why you're doing this. Communicate. Communication, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Communication is the key. Businesses say location, location, location. I'm telling you, education says networking, 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 especially in this industry. So, part of being visible is going out there and speaking to people and making that eye contact and giving them your information and asking how their day was, sparking that conversation. You never know when you have that chance meeting. just to give you an example. Do you all know who Gary Jones is? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. If you don't know who he is, you need to know. Okay. Gary Jones is actually the founder and president of Full Sail University. We just celebrated 35 years of Full Sail University. So you're talking about Drake started from the bottom, now we're here. He is that song. He built it from the ground up. His attitude is amazing. Yes, oh that Gary Jones. It's amazing. He does not he does not give off the vibe that he's above anybody else. And he'll occasionally do stuff like you'll be in the line of Starbucks and he'll come up and he'll just be like, okay, buy coffee for the 8 people that are behind me. And it's random things. So if you were ever in line at Starbucks and Gary Jones was there, would you go up and talk to him? And what would you say? Knowing that he probably only has about 2 minutes, what would you say? And would you take that initiative to shake his hand? And take him out of the equation for a minute. This could be anything. And it goes along the line of what I tell my campus students. I have an acronym, and it comes out to always be aware of your surroundings. You never know who you're in the room with. You never know who you are speaking to. So it's part of that being genuine. You never know if you brush shoulders in that 2 minutes, you can make an impression that lasts a lifetime. So put yourself out there. I know that it's very scary, and I've been in your boat. It's very nerve-wracking, it's very scary. It almost gives you anxiety thinking about it sometimes. But if you're in the practice and you make it almost becomes an innate thing that you do, and it becomes natural. And if you're out there and you're communicating and you're shaking hands and you're writing people, and we'll go into online presence, and you're holding true to who you are, you don't have to be afraid, because part of holding on to that integrity and being true to yourself is that you have accepted who you are, and then nothing else has to touch you. You have already accepted who you are. You already love who you are, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this life's mission to make everybody else that way. You don't have control over that. You have control over you, and you have control over your happiness and what drives and makes you. So if you accept that into your life and you accept who you are and you love who you are, there is nothing or no one in this world that can touch that could change that could break it down. That is the strongest thing that you could do for yourself, is know who you are. And the last leg that I think is important is maintain. Your brand must grow and evolve, as the world around you grows and evolves. Like her or not, the reason why Madonna is still relevant in the 21st century after 3 decades of being strong is that she holds on to her true self, but she evolves and she melts in with the changing society, and she is still relevant today. There's only a certain amount of people that have mastered that. Michael Jackson, if he was still alive today, I mean, he's still relevant after his death. And that's the mark that he's made on this world, because he's always stayed true to who he was, although he evolved his music, tried out different things. He stayed true to who he was. So maintenance is a big deal. Yes, Natalie, and I haven't heard it yet, and I need to hear it because I'm really excited about those two collaborating with each other. Cool. Okay. I won't spend too much time on this stuff because most of you are probably doing this stuff already. But if you're not, then I'm gonna show you things that you should be doing. Okay, so in creating your brand, traditional methods, you have that a 3x5 business card, and there's several websites out there that will give you a certain amount for free. Business cards, although archaic, now you can say they're kind of archaic, they do fit into a wallet. And those chance meetings, I mean, we'll go back to the Gary Jones incident. Do you think he has time for you to look for a pen and a piece of paper? Or is it easier to have a business card with your information on it and bam, it's right there, it goes into his wallet, and you have made that connection, you have communicated correctly. And of course, there's all sorts of things that you can do with business cards now. There is something called a QR code. Not sure if any of you seen it, but it's a square box and has scramblings. If you have a smartphone, it's those things that you scan to get more information, whether it's on a promotional card or yes. So there's that. You could have a QR code right on a 3x5 card, and that could give access to your YouTube channel, your web page, your DeviantArt page, whatever it is about your craft. You can have it. Lady, if you Google QR codes, there is a whole thing that you can purchase a QR code and have your own and link whatever it is you want to link to that. Megan, I think cards show how professional you are and that you are serious. Yes. A number and email on a Krispy Kreme receipt shows Alexa. I guess the way how you look at it, yeah. So yeah, have a Facebook page for business, but that's more of the untraditional ways, and I'm gonna get there, Natalie, but definitely. Professional portfolio, I was talking about building that toolbox. So you should be gathering things that you're proud of, especially this first month. You should be gathering things that you're proud of, that you developed, and putting it together. And then as you go along in the program, you could start putting together a professional portfolio that you can give out on those chance meetings? How do you make a folder in FSO? I don't believe that you can make folders on FSO. What I refer to is your desktop, meaning on your computer. Within the platform, there you wouldn't make a folder. So what I'm referring to is making a folder like this on your desktop to hold all your information, and you could even call it portfolio if you want. And Lady, I do see your hand went back up. Did you want to speak again?
Yes.
I don't want to skip over you.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, on the FSO, there is a, you go to my stuff and then you can add your portfolio. How do we add things to our portfolio or our, ¿cómo se dice? Caray.
Oh, are you talking about your profile where you list contacts and a bio of yourself?
No. Okay, like it has academics and it has never mind. Yeah, e-portfolio. Your e-portfolio.
Okay, I'm not sure if I have that on my side.
Like involvement, how do you add involvement?
This is
Or your hours worked on school.
I'm trying to can I give you permission to show your screen so I understand what you're
Sure.
talking about? Okay. Hold on. There you are. Okay, it'll give you a thing that get for you to grant permission. There you are. Okay. I don't have any of this. So you involvement. Did you try clicking on getting started?
It doesn't click.
Hmm.
There's also a area on our FSO that shows how many hours you've put into your school or your classes, but I don't know how to add that.
This is a good question. I don't have what you have on my page. This could be something for students that they keep track of this. On the instructor side, there are things that show me my students' involvement. I would contact FSO support, and they probably could walk you through it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry that I can't help you out, but if there's anything with troubleshooting the platform, FSO support controls the platform. if there's any issue with not getting into things, I'm definitely not the expert on that. They are. Okay. Is it cool to change it back?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Everyone, do you now see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we went through business cards, portfolios, resume. How many of you guys have a resume? Okay, and that's cool. Natalie says I do, have general skills. That's cool. That's a start. Your resume is a work in progress. It's something that if you don't have it, you should start making one and filling in information as you go along. It's a work in progress. Megan, I definitely get what you're saying. You have a few. So do I. I have my education one, and then I have my entertainment one, and I have my business one. So there's all sorts of things. Like having a few is actually kind of a cool thing to do because of the diverse positions out there. Some things that are on your education resume don't pertain to the entertainment resume. So, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're going for a position that needs you to speak in front of people and entertain, then that's a resume you're going to go with. If you are going for an administrative position where you need proficient communication skills and computer skills, then that's what you're going to go with. So it all depends on what position that you are applying for. But a resume is definitely good, great thing to have. Then there are, some non-traditional ways. We have, you have, oh my God, I'm losing the word. Forgive me. Video resumes. Brain freeze for a second. Sorry about that. Video resumes. And although these are really cool because it's not just type words on a paper, it actually showcases your personality, the tone of your voice, and many times creativity. Not all positions would ask for something, or not all positions this would be an appropriate choice. However, it might be in good habit to talk to the computer or talk in front of a camera. This will give you practice when you go on an interview. It'll give you something to look back at, and maybe you could improve some of your skills or enhance some. There's also different ways that you can make a resume depending on how savvy you are with technology, and you could make like a digital artwork out of your resume. Are you guys familiar with LinkedIn? Cool. LinkedIn is so worth it to have. It's a professional website. It's a professional place to build upon your resume. Lynda.com, what I introduced you guys to, is now no pun intended or intended, whatever you look at it. LinkedIn is linked to Lynda, whereas you complete a certificate and you put that right on your LinkedIn profile. And there's a Lynda for that, so you can also watch the tutorial on how to do that and how to connect those two. You can do a blog. Blogs are a good way, especially nowadays. There are several positions, even the simplest ones, that are asking for writing samples. I've had several of my friends go for waitressing positions, and they have to submit a writing sample. You wouldn't think, but you're in the position that you need to know how to communicate well. You're taking orders, you're using customer service, you have to know how to understand and interpret the people's needs. So communication is really strong. Anyone in here have a blog? No one has a blog? No? You're making one? Cool. I actually had one. Life has been getting in the way. I know it's no excuse. Yes, Weebly, cool lady. It's no excuse, but I had a blog called The Power of Flow, and it was my social experiment. I truly believe, and this goes along with visibility. We were talking about visibility. I truly believe that as human beings, what we really want deep down inside is to know that we exist, to be acknowledged, know that we do exist and people see us. And I would tell my high schoolers all the time that you really don't understand the power that you have. You don't really truly understand that you have this power that is so simplistic and so easy to do, and you have that power to make somebody's day. And it could be just with a nod, a wave, a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, just acknowledging that that other person exists. And that, so I put that as a social experiment out there, and it lasted for a little while, and I definitely want to revamp it, and I will revamp it. You just don't know what to blog, and I know that's a dilemma that I feel, lady, too. I'm right there with you. I feel like sometimes that I'm saying so much, and that's what I ran into also. But it depends. It depends on, you have to have a purpose. Have a purpose for your blog. Have goals to be set. Have outcomes, possible outcomes that you want to see happen, and that may give you direction on how you want to go about doing it. And it's fun. It is. It gives you purpose. It gives you a mission outside of all the monotony that life could be. So I recommend it. Okay. Personal website, that's just another suggestion, and I showed you guys Weebly, as Lady mentioned. I showed you Weebly. Very, very easy. very user friendly, if I dare say. You do have some options that you could get your own domain name if you would like. However, having it free through Weebly, you have to carry the Weebly name, which is not altogether a bad thing. But a personal website could be very proficient because it could house all your material. You can have the About Me page, you can have your blog on there, you can have links to your LinkedIn, to your Facebook, to your Twitter account, and it's a one-stop shop. So those chance meetings that you have, wouldn't it be great if you just had a website that they had this impression on you and they could go to that one website and everything's there instead of having to go to your Facebook and then having to go to your LinkedIn and then having to go to your blog. It's all right there in one place. Okay, this. Why do you think it's in? Well, it says it right there. But the bottom line is that professionally, we all have our private accounts, or we have our Facebook account for friends and family, and then some people have a business Facebook account. What this is trying to say is that you want to be consistent. You want to be consistent on your Twitter. You want to be consistent on your Facebook page. You want to be consistent on your website. It's helping to place your face with the name, with your business, with your brand. Does that make sense? You want to be recognized and noticed. I had a great story a couple of months ago. I had a student that was kind of shy. He really didn't like to put his face as the face of his product. He wanted more of like a staple or a piece of his art to represent who he was as a digital artist. So that's what he did. He decided that he designed a symbol or a piece of art that represented who he was, and he put it on everything. He had it on his Twitter, he had it on his Facebook, he had it on flyers that he would do. It was actually, prints, almost like Prince, or the symbol formerly known as. Amazing artist, by the way. I love Prince. But he decided to be very consistent about it and would put that, like I said, on flyers that he would do for promotions. So, and he didn't think, he's like, whatever, I only have a certain amount of people, in my network or whatever, family or friends. And he goes on vacation. And he's in a store and he has one of his, I think it was a notebook or like a planner, and it had this symbol on his planner, and someone stopped him and said, "Are you him? Or do you know of him? He does amazing things." And it blew him away because he was recognized way outside of his inner circle that he thought, he's like, I'm just from this town and it's only people from this town that know who I am. But he was on vacation and got noticed from a symbol. So it's a very powerful thing to be consistent. People recognize you and you start to have this reputation. Yes, that is the power of the internet. Okay, so making a website, you want to have 4 primary pages. That doesn't mean that you have to stop there, but you want to have a home page. You want to have something that represents whatever you are selling, whether it is yourself or your craft. You want it about like how you got started, what your philosophy is, your mission statements, your purpose, your goals. Then you want a page that is going to showcase the service that you're selling, or your artwork, or your music, um, your craft, essentially. And then, of course, you want a contact page. You don't want to give anybody any reason not to be able to get in touch with you. You're making an impression, you put forth the effort for people to come to your website. You do not want to forget to put information that is going to allow them to contact you. And I know it sounds like common sense, but you would be surprised. You would be surprised. Always put contact information. Okay. These are just another suggestion. I already gave you Weebly, but another one is Wix. There's Google Sites. Another good one is WordPress. If you want to look up, they all host a website. Of course, this is without the fancy HTML code or being able to customize it the way that you want it. It's more of the template style. Okay, Megan, you have your hand up. You took it away. Do you have a question still, Megan, or no? Later. Okay. Okay. So maintaining online reputation. You want to check your social networking sites often. So if you have a Facebook page, if you have Instagram, if you have Pinterest, you want to check them often. You want to make sure that if it goes with the visibility, if your goal is to be visible and for people to follow you, and to get your brand known, then you need to be visiting these sites more often. You need to tweet. You need to post a status. You need to take pictures. You need to keep the public satisfied, because if you are not updating these things, there is not going to be any reason for that person to keep following you. Make sense? Another statistic is 8 million names are being Googled every day. Now, that could be viewed as something very scary, or it could be viewed as something very helpful that pushed the industry the way it is because of the demand. There was the demand for collaboration overseas, globally. So it goes along the line with those chance meetings. Most of us today have smartphones in our pockets. And if you don't think that chance meeting that you have, whether you made a good impression or a not so good impression, that person isn't taking out their smartphone and Googling who you are. They are. So it depends on how visible you want to be. If you don't want to be that visible, then you have to take the necessary steps to protect yourself. But if you want to be visible and you want to be recognized and you want to be launched into stardom, then you will make sure that when that person Googles your name, everything that you want to appear will appear. Get my drift? And everything you don't want. Well, you don't want that. You want to make sure that you're aware of things that you don't want and take the measures to rectify that situation. The next statistic kind of angers people, and it says 70 to 90% of employers are using social networks to find out about you. This is absolutely true. This is not a scare tactic. This is something that goes on. Now, it's a very heated conversation in my class, but the bottom line comes down to this, and this is, you could read this as being very harsh or not, but the bottom line is that the World Wide Web is a public forum. It's a public forum. Cyberspace is public. So, if you post a picture on Facebook, if you post a picture on Instagram, if you update your status, if you tweet 140 characters, you're putting that into a public forum. No matter what your settings are, no matter, whatever you think that information is going to, you need to be aware that it's a public forum. So a lot of people will say, well, they don't have the right, that's my privacy. No, you decided that you were giving up that right to privacy when you posted that picture on a public forum. And that is the truth. The sole truth and nothing but the truth. It's just the truth. I'm not saying anything that is untrue. That's what it comes down to. You are making the choice to post that in a public forum. No one is invading your privacy. You have already given up your privacy by doing that. So here's some statistics for you. Just this one really caught my eye, because I just got finished telling you that LinkedIn is the professional website where you post your information and build your resume. Well, that comes in a measly 48%, where Facebook comes in at 76%. That was kind of astounding to me. So employers are not going to a professional site first, they're going to Facebook. So you might want to think, I think one of you guys said, what would I post if my grandmother was sitting next to me? Exactly. This one is, have you ever rejected a candidate because of something negatively shown on a social networking site? And 69% say yes, they have rejected a candidate because of that, because of something negative on their Facebook page. 69%, that's over half of the population. But on the other hand, the next one, in the same light, have you ever hired a candidate because something you saw on a social networking site? So painting them themselves in a positive light, it's almost comparable. So really what it comes down to is the individual. What are you doing to make sure that the perception or how you want to be perceived is out there for people to see? What are you doing to make the perception of yourself equal the perception of others? All these pop-ups. Okay. I don't have to go through all these slides, but online communication, and this is what I'm going to wrap up, and then I'm going to take your questions if you have any. Online communication. What is the major problem with online communication? Can anyone tell me? Too much or not enough? Can you clarify that? Leroy, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I think Natalie said what I was gonna say. It's hard to get that personal feedback with a person, and
Absolutely.
sometimes your message gets misconstrued by however you typed it into the person.
Oh, you mean misinformation or misunderstandings? Never.
A little bit of
Never.
both.
But
Yeah.
absolutely, Leroy and Natalie, you hit the nail on the head. Body language can be seen in order to interpret things being said. And Leroy said about tone. You really can't measure tone. And although we think that we're we're softening the blow of our sarcastic statement by putting LOL at the end, um, is it really working? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm being patronized when LOL is at the end. Like you really meant to be mean to me, but because you put an LOL and a smiley face, I'm supposed to forgive you for what you said. So absolutely, you don't have that body language, you don't have that tone, you can't really decipher um, the emotions of where those words are coming from. Um, Not to say that it's not impossible, but you have to choose your words wisely. You kind of have to become this wordsmith. I feel like communication online demands so much more of a strong grasp on any language that you speak in than face to face. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you have to have a stronger grip on language with online communication than you do face to face. And that in lies the problem. People do not take the time to create these clear and concise sentences, and the communication gets lost in the frustration or the back and forth, this tug of war of trying to figure out what the other person is trying to ask or trying to say. Um, Megan says, well, there is a flood of information you get that you don't want. The negative feedback for something you posted instantly, and the communication you don't want in a professional manner, you're not getting it. Which is very true. And it goes back to human nature. We feed off negativity, don't we? And it's so much easier to remember the negative than it is the positive. And it's really unfortunate. And uh, you guys are the change agents, and you could start changing the perception of that and put a spin. And maybe people should be start paying attention to those that actually take the time to communicate eloquently and be a professional. Oh, awesome, lady! You got your first response. Are you happy with your response? And Natalie, I definitely agree. Emoticons sometimes don't help what you're trying to say either. I think you're better off picking up the phone. At least people can hear the tone of your voice. One of the things about communication, if you really want to be strong in customer service, or you really want to be genuine with the person online, is smile when you talk. It's a world of difference. If you smile when you talk, your words come out as if you are smiling at them, if you're face to face smiling at them. That's cute. Um, I'm glad your hubby's on board. Well, Megan, and I'm gonna read what you said just so everybody at home knows. I think the only feedback from something I posted that I liked was the discussion boards at Full Sail. And really, that makes my heart very happy. And yeah, and it does make me sad as well, lady. But it speaks volume of our environment. If you create this environment that is positive and you model good communication, and that's all I can hope for, is that I create an environment where you guys feel comfortable enough to um, to express yourself and your opinion, and you feel comfortable enough that everybody in that environment is open-minded, and even if they disagree with what you said, they're opening their minds to your perspective, and you're helping each other gain new knowledge and new perspective. Um, so it's sad that it has to be only a controlled environment like our forums, but that's what has to change. And we only have the power to do that, to create our environment where it is more comfortable to communicate and change people's perceptions on things. So, Megan, I'm very happy that you're comfortable and you could express yourself here, and I hope that you can get that somewhere else as well, and it can continue on. Leroy, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, with the online communication, sometimes it doesn't take an effect that different cultures view communications differently. You get different, what's the word I want to use? You get different feedback from just watching somebody else talk to you. And also, the problem with the discussion boards I find is most people want to wait until like Saturday evening to try and get all it in, post everything. It
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't give everybody else a chance to like communicate with people. I find that Lady and Megan are like on there all the time, so we like conversate with each other. But then the other folks in the class, because we never see them or hear from them until Sunday night, then we don't get a chance to like post anything on what they have to say.
And I feel your frustration, especially I don't know if you noticed. Yes, and it is frustrating, Megan. Uh, Although it goes with the old saying, you could bring a horse to water, but you can't get them to drink. Um, it's frustrating. It's frustrating as an instructor because I make sure that I'm on there and I comment on everybody. Um, Sometimes I'll make like a initial paragraph and I'll talk to the class, but I do my best to talk to everybody. And it's it is frustrating. All I can say is that keep doing what you're doing, and if you've only connected with Lady and Megan and maybe a few others, then you're successful and you accomplished what you have to do. Um, the others are missing out on they're missing out on that collaboration and network, and they're missing out on great people. You guys have amazing things to share and say. Um, so I would feel bad for them that they're missing out on a wonderful thing that goes on at Full Sail. And um, I hope it changes. I hope it changes because communication is the key. you need to have strong communication skills if you're gonna make it in this industry. So thank you, Leroy. Lady, you have your hand up. Did you want to speak? Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, you guys.
Excellent.
The problem we're having is like last night I went to go see what Team C had responded to Team A and B, and we couldn't do that because they had entered it so late that when we got on to check it, we couldn't even respond and open the file.
I know, and I couldn't open the file either, and I sent out an email to the team so they can redo that.
But is that gonna happen all the time? Because that is like so selfish.
And
Why are you laughing? Somebody's
Because
laughing.
the way you said it,
that was
still
me.
saying it was what they're doing.
Because you're laughing at my accent?
No,
Oh.
because what you said is true. It's selfish.
Oh, yeah, it
It's
is.
like waiting until Sunday night to do all your homework.
It just doesn't work like that. And then it feels like, oh, we put all this time into it, and then you couldn't, take the same effort for us.
Well, I will tell
Like
you
that.
that your efforts have not gone unnoticed, and you will have extensive feedback from me if that helps you at all.
No, we're talking about the other students that are not doing what we're doing.
And I know that is frustrating, and I've been there, especially being an online student, and it is frustrating. Unfortunately, we don't have the power to make them do it. We only have control over what we want to do in the class. And unfortunately, I mean, it really should. They're missing out. It really should be the whole class interacting with each other. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen all the time. And I'm with you. I think I cried my first 2 years of teaching, and not because I hated my job, because I love my job. I love teaching. It was because there were those that I was just not reaching. But it wasn't. I had to come to grips that it wasn't just me. It was, despite all my efforts, it was something in them that they just didn't have the motivation to do it, or they didn't care to do it. So unfortunately, there is double-edged sword. Excuse me. In my teaching utopia, everybody would be on board. We would all be brothers and sisters, and we would all love each other, and it would just be amazing. But unfortunately, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, lady, it was either you or Megan that said, I think it was Megan that said that the internet is the yin and yang, and really that is the balance of the universe. There's light and dark, good and evil, motivators and procrastinators. That's the way it is. It's gonna be. Thank you for blessing me, Megan. Okay, Leroy, you had your hand up first, and then a lady.
No, I think I said what I had to say. But to lady, your accent is cool with me. I like that. So.
It better be cool. It's my accent too. Just kidding, Leroy.
And I guess, even when you have these sessions here, you only see like the same names all the time. understand people have to work and all that kind of stuff, but still, just show up. I mean, even if you're late, show up and say hello and listen to a little bit of it. But
I know, I
all
know
I can
it.
say is it's their money and they're just throwing it away. So,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I will tell you this on a positive note, because there are, with different schedules and different time zones, my the channel that my YouTube channel where I post all the videos, it keeps track of how many views, and I on a positive note, there's a lot of people that go back and watch the recordings. So, um, I believe that people are taking the effort. They just can't be here at the times that I have them.
well, I watch. I have to go back and watch them sometimes too. So,
That's
because there's
cool.
things that I miss, and
I
then I
do
have to
too.
go back and I might watch like 2 or 3 times to get everything that I need.
That's cool. And that's really what they're there for. That's why I record them. Um, sometimes it's good to review notes and go over certain things, especially when there's a demonstration of something. It's nice to have the program up myself and then watch the video at the same time so I could play and then pause and then do it in my program and keep doing that. So that
Yeah,
helped me a lot.
for the research session, that's what it was. Play a little bit, do some work, play a little bit more, just so I could make sure that I got everything that I needed to get done.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that I helped. Lady, did you wanna add? Cause your hand's down.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was told that this, okay, because I've been talking to somebody that is in my program, but she's already like in her second year.
Mhm.
And I was told that the first 4 months, or basically really the first 1 month of class, is like that's where the school weeds out those that are not motivated or that don't have the inspiration or to actually do the work. And that's the first 2 months is where they either drop out, or that's where the teachers know that they're going to be excellent. Is this true?
Well, I will tell you that it is a make or break, yeah, and I think it's the individual that ultimately makes the decision. It's sad for me to see people go and not try, um, and I'm sure that you saw some people disappearing, like not being able to get in touch with some of your members. So it does happen. It does happen. Sometimes you come to a school like this and you're online for the first time. You have no idea what an online education is, and it's overwhelming. This isn't a traditional university. You're taking a whole semester's work in a month, and sometimes that is very overwhelming for some, and um, maybe it isn't the right fit. you know uh, it's something that they weren't expecting, but I will tell you that only the strong will survive, and it's all about your determination. And if you are determined, if you're motivated, if you're dedicated, if you take pride in your decision to further your education, you will be successful here. You will be successful, and you may you may not always get the grades that you want to get ultimately, but the effort and the journey and the amount of knowledge and the people that you're going to connect with and meet is all worth it. All worth it. Yeah. It's pretty much, you have to think about, this is one class. If you went to a traditional if you went to a traditional college, this class would probably be 3.5 months. 3 months. Yeah. So, Megan, I see that your hand is up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. I did this mainly so that to prove I have a voice because I felt bad I wasn't talking. And also I noticed that Leroy and Lady, you were kind of actually exactly voicing the frustrations that I've been having last week and the week before. But I wanted to kind of share something with you guys. I actually had a long conversation with my friend who is currently attending this class, and she's in her first year, but she's in her 9th month of it. And I was basically venting to her, saying how hard it was or how frustrating it is. And she really put it in perspective for me that the first 3 and 4 months are the hardest for some people, but it's really a matter of how you encounter it, and you can't look at the people who aren't taking it seriously. You just have to take that and prove just how serious you are about it, and really just the other people. If you encounter good people like I've encountered Lady and Leroy and some others, then good. But if you encounter people who just aren't serious, you just have to use that as kind of empowering yourself to just prove that you are serious about it. And so I really just took her words to heart, and I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Well, absolutely. And thank you for sharing, because I feel like you just validated how I feel and what I said. So I really appreciate that, Megan. And
Mm-hmm.
it really is. You have the power. And I'll probably say this a million times before you leave my class, but ultimately, you have the power to pursue your own happiness. And yes, there are going to be people that come in and out of that journey that you're on, and that you should seek guidance and you should seek help when it's necessary, but ultimately you have the control of your own happiness. And just like the personal brand, if you believe in the person that you are wholeheartedly, and you love that person, and you know exactly who you are, then no one can tell you different, and you could just continue on the path that you want, and no one could touch that. No one could destroy that drive or that motivation. Once you have inner strength, that's it. You're golden. You are on the road to success. Okay, so we're coming. You welcome, Leroy. We are coming to about 4 o'clock, which we're approaching the second hour. So I want to open up to any questions. And Lady, I see your hand. Go ahead.
I have a question, but it's not really about the class. It's about what we've been talking about now. Um, why doesn't Full Sail credits go to anywhere else?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Like, if I went to another college or university, I can't take my credits with me, or they don't accept other people's credits. Why is that?
Do you know that for sure?
Does our credits go so? I mean, my husband is in on campus, and he says that he was told that they were not transferable. So is that for just particular classes, or?
It depends on the college or university that you're going to enter in or transfer to. It all depends on their policy and what classes that they accept or don't accept. My advice, just going through college and both undergrad and grad, if you are thinking about transferring or going to another school, I would do the legwork and research to see what they would take and what they wouldn't take. I know that we went through a accreditation process, and that's why there is this Common Four that we call is DGL, English, Psychology of Play, and then I believe it's the industry class as the last leg, and that's part of the accreditation process. So it all depends on the school.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Do you guys have any questions on any of the assignments for this week? Okay, Leroy, go ahead.
One of the global sessions, but when I went to sign the attendance sheet, I couldn't get to it. So how do I get credit for being at that session? Because yours is at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't make 3 o'clock in the morning. So I got to go to work in the morning. So.
Oh, well, that's understandable. Are you Pacific time?
No, I'm Central
Oh no,
European time.
you're German. You're overseas,
Yeah.
right? I'm sorry.
Yep.
What session did you go to?
The one yesterday. Let me look at my calendar here. Let me find the calendar first. It was the one at 9 o'clock or whatever time 9 o'clock is.
Okay. I will get in touch. I will get in touch with that instructor. I'll find out who it was.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people were having the problem, and then when I tried to go back to get like the materials for the class, the Google Docs thing is like there are no more. So
that's
I don't know how to get
strange.
credit for being there yesterday.
Okay, I'll look into it and then I'll message you with the link.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. You guys have any other questions? Any concerns about the assignment for this week? Megan, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question was about a website, because you were talking about all the free ones, and I did have a free website, or a website rather, through a free forum, and it was up for about a few months, and then through lack of patronage or whatever, the site went down, and my site went down with it. So would you say that it's worth um, like paying for your own domain name on your own .com, just so that if the site does, get bought by someone else or it goes down altogether, your your creation doesn't get kind of thrown in the fire with it all. And on that note, how much is the average um, how much is the average domain name just buying a .com and buying your so-called real estate on the internet? Because I wouldn't want to put so much work into my own site and then have it just eaten.
And I don't blame you at all. It all depends on what your goal was, what your ultimate goal was, and maintenance is a big thing. If you, Leroy just mentioned, if you go to GoDaddy, it depends on what the domain name is. Now, you might type in a domain name and think that it's very unique, but there are people that have bought domain names. So, go ahead.
I mean, like, if you not just go through like a Weebly or something, just if you buy your own .com, like, how would you go about, like, if, say, I wanted to do www.megan.com, just as an example, I wouldn't do that. I would come up with something more catchy. But just if I wanted to buy a .com, I don't know how to go about that.
Leroy, put it in the chat box. GoDaddy.com is a good site to go on to buy domain names, and it gives you the option to type in a domain name, and GoDaddy will tell you if it's available or not. And if it's available, sometimes it's available for purchase because someone has bought the name already. The dollar amount is going to depend on the name that you came up with. It could be anywhere from $11 to I saw $18,000. So it depends. Wow. Yeah, it depends on the name of your website and how flexible you are with the name.
Okay.
Okay. And Lady makes a good point. Weebly also offers you the option to buy your own domain name, and it takes Weebly off of it. So you have that option when you build your website.
So if I do it through Weebly, and I pay for it, does that separate myself from Weebly in case something happens to Weebly?
That's a good question. Lady says yes. I don't know 100%.
Okay. If it be, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, because I think they're the hosting site, so it would just be like buying a domain name off GoDaddy. They're the hosting site. So if GoDaddy was ever to go out of business, which I would think that a company like that would have things set in place, that all of a sudden your website that you've been paying for would just disappear. I'm sure that there is protocol and steps that would be taken.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. And when you get it, let me know so I can follow you and make sure that you have activity going on there.
Okay.
Okay, guys, it's about 4:10. Do we have any other questions about this week? Or about the lecture? Okay, Lady, you have your hand up.
It's not exactly about this, but I do have a question.
Okay.
And it is, do you want to build a snowman?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So bad.
I
Oh,
love that movie. Oh my god.
I love that movie. Oh, law. Do your kids sing it? Do they sing all the songs? I got a
I
video.
do.
Excellent. Excellent.
I sing them and they try to either dance or hide. I don't know if I should be offended.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. I got a video text from my goddaughter the other day and she was singing Let It Go. She's only 3. She's so cute.
That's so funny. My ex-boyfriend's like 1-year-old daughter, she goes, "Let go," because she can't say "let it go." So they sing
Aw,
that to each other. It's so cute.
that's so cute. Kids are adorable. They're adorable. But okay, well, that was the personal branding session, and as always, I know it's only Tuesday, but if you guys have any questions about the digital citizenship assignment, definitely message me or email me, whatever you need to do. I posted the recorded session on the community discussion board. Like I said, there was no real sound issue except for one little spot when I go over the geotagging, and that's when GoTo decided to mute me for about 3 minutes and not let me go off mute. I don't know. It was retaliating for some reason. I don't know what went wrong. But, go forth and enjoy the rest of this week. Memorial Day weekend is coming up. I hope you guys are taking some time for yourself. I know it's hard.
I have a convention to go to this weekend.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I thought my mic was unmuted. Oh.
What convention?
It's called Crypticon.
Cool.
It's a horror convention in Tacoma, or not Tacoma, by the airport, SeaTac.
TTAC.
How cool.
My friend, she practically ordered me to go. She's like, "You can't live your life on your computer in school. You have to go to the convention and have fun."
Oh, awesome. That's a good
So,
friend. You
I'm
need
having to go.
step away.
Yeah.
It's part of the 9 elements. One of the elements is health and wellness, and you need to step away and unplug. It's for your own sanity.
I did notice that. Yeah.
Awesome. And Leroy, Monday is a holiday. Do not look at anything on Monday. Monday is a holiday. That is it. Don't worry about it. Step away and sleep. Yes. I'll be stepping away and going to the beach. So, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Thank you for coming and spending your afternoon or evening or morning, depending where you are. And I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
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 Adios.
Bye, guys.
Adios, amigos.
Ciao.
Night, John boy.